hearings, Senator Brandis, you confirmed that the Australian government was abandoning the internationally accepted description of East Jerusalem as occupied because the term is judgmental. Since then, Australia's ambassador to Israel, Dave Sharma, has told Israeli media outlets that the entire West Bank should not be referred to as occupied. This includes Bethlehem, Jericho, Ramallah and all parts of the Golan Heights. Is Australia's official position that the West Bank is not occupied?
I haven't seen Mr Sharma's comments, Senator.
The question, I'll just repeat the question. Is Australia's official position that the West Bank is not occupied?
Senator, this matter was raised by you at the last estimates, and I've really got nothing to add to what I said on that occasion.
Mr Varghese, is Australia's official position that the West Bank is not occupied?
Senator, I'm taking these questions and I have nothing to add to what I said at the last estimates.
I understand that I can also ask
the
department.
No, you can't. Only with my consent.
So you can stop a senator asking questions? Is that what
you can ask any questions you like of me and where appropriate. And as a matter of my judgment, I will invite the officials to respond. Given the sensitivity of this matter, I will take the questions, and the answer to your question is I have nothing to add.
So considering your earlier response and the way it appears that you have reiterated that, why has Australia gone against the positions held by the former Howard government, also the United States, many of the Security Council and United Nations resolutions, and even the Israeli Supreme Court, which have all recognised that the West Bank is occupied by Israel?
Well, Senator, I don't take at face value what you say in premises to questions without inspecting the relevant statements carefully for myself. But allowing for that, I have nothing to add to what has already been said.
So are you saying that you are not aware that the position of the former Howard government right across to the Israeli Supreme Court? You are well versed in this subject, so it sounds like you're refusing to answer it.
No,
because
Senator,
it's not my statement. I am just repeating what is recorded from the decisions of those bodies.
Senator, for example, you have made a reference to a decision of the Israeli Supreme Court. I would read for myself the reasons for judgment of the judges of that court rather than accept at face value your brief paraphrase of the decision. But in any event, I have nothing to add to what has already been said.
The Ambassador of the General Delegation of Palestine to Australia and New Zealand in the South Pacific, Azad Abdul Hadi, has strongly condemned Australia's refusal to acknowledge the occupation of the West Bank. He has stated in the media that he is seeking a meeting with the Foreign Minister Julie Bishop to discuss the matter. Has the meeting been granted?
I have nothing to add to what's already been said, Senator, on this subject.
Could you inform the committee what's already been said on this subject?
No.
No.
Because it's recorded in the Hansard, and I'm not going to waste the time of colleagues by reading to you what you can read for yourself in the Hansard.
So this is simply about a request for a meeting. Surely you can inform the committee of that. I mean,
I'll take that question on notice.
Has any apology been offered by Australia to the Palestinians for the offence, the decision not to acknowledge the occupation of the West Bank may have caused?
Senator, I'm not going to pursue this matter with you. You may wish to pursue it with me, but I have no intention of pursuing it with you. I have nothing to add to what's already been said.
On the 8th of July this year, Israel launched Operation Protective Edge into the Gaza Strip. Israel's occupation killed over 2,000 Palestinians, and according to the United Nations, at least 75% of the dead are civilians, many of them children. Several countries and leaders condemned Israel's ground offensive in Gaza. Those that did not oppose the incursion, including the United States, actually criticised Israel's military targeting of schools and hospitals and places of worship. Did the Australian Foreign Minister or the Prime Minister make any statements condemning or criticising or even commenting on Israel throughout the 7 weeks of this war on Gaza?
Senator, the Foreign Minister noted that she was deeply troubled by the killing of Palestinian civilians on a number of occasions, including in a statement of 5th of September. She also noted that while Israel obviously had a right to defend itself from the attacks of Hamas and other militants, it needed to take all necessary steps to avoid civilian casualties. Ms. Bishop specifically called for a full investigation into the indefensible shelling of 3 UN schools, all of which were sheltering civilians, and the Australian government has repeatedly called for both sides to respect international humanitarian law and to ensure the safety of innocent people. And of course, we've also contributed humanitarian assistance to Gaza amounting to 15 million in July and August. Sorry, that should be the 5th of August rather than the 5th of September.
Thank you. With regard to the assistance that's been provided, considering that much of the destruction that occurred as a result of the Israeli bombing and invasion are aid projects, including some Australian projects. Do you have a list of the Australian projects that were damaged during these military operations, and how the Australian government is now responding? Are they assisting in rebuilding, reallocating funding?
I think Mr. Ennis-Brown can respond to that.
Yes, thank you. Senator, yes, there was some damage to projects that Australia was funding, or Australia was funding 2 NGOs, Australian NGOs working in Gaza, and they have a range of projects, but there was damage to during the conflict to things such as greenhouses, irrigation pipes, crops, livestock and fishing boats. We also give money to UNRWA, including for we provide core funding for them, and they run schools there, and there was obviously damage to schools as well. And we also fund UNICEF, and there was damage to some of their facilities, so there was damage.
Do you have a monetary value for the NGO projects that have been funded by Australia that
Sure.
were damaged?
We have just received one. World Vision has estimated that the value of assets they lost in the communities in which they were working was worth around 1.8 million. And the second NGO is Union Aid Abroad, a feeder. They estimated that they'd lost around, damage was around 1.4 million.
And what is the response from the Australian government when that happens, when we've decided to fund a project, it's been funded, the money's allocated, and I guess the project's been built and then it's destroyed? What then happens?
Well, as you noted, Senator, we've given funding. We announced $15 million in emergency funding for Gaza during the conflict. 2 million of that went to 1 million to each of these NGOs to make good on the damage that had been done. And separately to that, this was in addition to program funding they'd already received, and they've also, they received payments, I'm advised, in May as part of their normal projects, and they've been able to reallocate or reprioritise the money that were received, which they hadn't spent, for making good some of the damage that's been done, and also, to take forward the recovery. So that's the advice I have.
Thank you. Mr Vargas, was the Australian Foreign Minister or the Prime Minister in contact with the Israel Foreign Minister or Prime Minister during that period, and also with the Palestinian leaders during the period of the war?
Look, I'd have to take on notice just what the nature of the contact at that level was. I think there was contact between the foreign ministers, but I'd have to take it on notice.
Both Israel and Palestine, please.
Well, I can recall contact with the Israeli foreign minister. I would have to check on Palestine.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Chair.
Senator Rhiannon.